Welcome back to WD Magiccast for the week of July 30th, 2024. This is episode 266. WD Magiccast, the show about the mouse, the Marvels, the galaxy, and beyond. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. In this week's show, Dave Gallman and I sit down and give our overview of Star Wars The Acolyte, the latest Star Wars series to hit Disney Plus, or depending when you're listening to this, one of the series of Star Wars to hit Disney Plus. Don't forget to let us know what you think of the show. Join in the conversation on our social networks where we can be found just about everywhere at WD Magiccast on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, YouTube. We are out there, and make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to check out our TeePublic shop where you can get yourself some really cool WD Magiccast merchandise and things. I'll be getting some new designs out there shortly, I hope. And really, you get something and you help the show out as well. And we definitely would appreciate it. And on that bombshell, on with the show. I remember when we were discussing, I think the year to come, and talking about how the Acolyte was coming. It was one of my most anticipated shows that I was looking forward to. And now it has come and gone. You got our mid-season-ish review from Dave and I. So now it's time to wrap up the show, and Dave will let you know what he really thinks about the Acolyte, and try to remind him that this is a family-friendly show.
I got it.
So like all great Sith Lords, there's two of them, and they're lurking in the shadows, even though you probably know exactly who they are in the first place. Dave Gallman, welcome back.
Hello, Matthew. Thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure. Pleasure.
Yeah, I think I'm on record of saying that The Last Jedi was by far the worst, in my opinion, movie in Star Wars history.
Yes.
Well, it's, I think for me it's official. The Acolyte has bypassed The Last Jedi, which I would never thought that would happen.
Spoilers! Before we get too far into it, I do want to give a quick shout out to one of my friends, former co-workers, Mark and his family. He's down in the parks right now. I was just chatting with him this morning, giving him some suggestions and some ideas. I was talking to him later as well. He was enjoying the Dole Whips. He got himself one of the adult ones. So it was really nice, and I hope him and his girls are having a great time down there. Enjoy all the memories and every moment while you're down there, Mark. Granted, we're also recording this on the 25th of July, even though the episode comes out on the 31st. So he may be home by now. But our thoughts are just the same.
Yes.
So, it was a venturous idea. Like, I think the idea worked. The premise was good.
The premise was good.
The premise was good.
The execution,
good choice of words.
Yeah. Not so much.
See, I don't think it was horrible. But I think I think they could have. There's just like you were missing that little extra something.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't know, like I want to say like character development. I just.
Yeah, I'm with the witches, for example. Like they didn't really go that deep into them, so it kept you guessing with them. and they were kind of a main part of the show. So, but there was no development, in my opinion, on those characters.
No, it's like,
So
okay, we have these witches. Great. Are they Darthamir witches? No, they're not.
they're not. Okay, who are they?
What are they? Were they good? Okay, we need a little more information because we don't know who they are. I mean,
Right.
unless if they're pulling them from either the graphic novels or the books, which is quite possible. But if you haven't read the books, like I haven't read any of the Star Wars books
Yeah, me neither.
in a few decades, um, you kind of are alienating a decent chunk of your audience there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's certain things I thought worked well, and then there's things like that all right, you're spending time on other things that you should have spent on something like that, like a little more development.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where we have always talked about how oh, you should cut down the episodes because they're dragging a little too long for like Hawkeye or some of the earlier ones. I think this one they could have pushed the episodes a little more to give us more.
If they were going to give you, because I'll argue that point, because if they would utilize that length in the right way, I would say,
what I was just gonna say.
Hey, this was a 4 hour, so just 8 episodes, 30 minutes. So let's say this was 4 hours in total runtime. This could have been a 2 hour movie if they wanted, and it probably would have ran. It probably would have ran better if they did a 2 hour movie on this. Because to your point, okay, 3 and 7 were basically the same episodes. Did we need 2 of the same episodes? We could have used one of those as, give us some character development on the witches and other characters in there.
I understood with 7 what they were trying to do and give you, all right, while this was going on, here's what was going on the other side.
Right, but I don't put that on 3. You know what I mean? That could have been, both angles could have been played.
I know. I understand why they spread it out because they didn't want to give you that much in their minds, that much of a reveal that early on. About
right.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think there was enough variety in 7 from 3 or 2 to no, yeah, 3. Enough variety between the two for it to be that much of a big shocker. Right. Like I think by the time we got to 7, it was just like, oh, well, that's kind of what I figured happened.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. We kind of figured it out our own, but
the only thing that, like, okay, you had the one Padawan that was constantly saying, the witches were taking over his mind and he was kind of questioning everything. What happened to him?
Yeah. And then
so you tell me they went after everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And took care of it. And we haven't gotten to the spoiler part. Sorry. And then there's just this random one, and I'll get to that. I guess I'll get to that in a little bit. But so let's give our grade, and if we could think of an MVP.
Jeez, that's gonna be hard. Wow.
I think I have one, but
do you really? Good for you. All right. So basically, we left off. I'm going to give you we left off at episode 5. So we're basically going to go with episode 6. Teach and Corrupt was given a 5.0. Episode 7. Choice was given a 4.5, and the Acolyte was given a 5.2. So that was the 3 that we didn't do on IMDb.
Yes. Do you want to do individual, or should we just go ahead and do the whole series?
Just do the whole series.
All right.
What did I give it, a 5?
I'm fine with that.
Did I give it a 5, the first part? You remember? I think I gave it a 5.
I think you did a 5 or 4.
Or 4. It was one of them.
Where'd my notes go? I misplaced my notes. Hold on. No, you're not Ken Deep.
Nope, not Ken Deep.
Let's see here. When did we do this one?
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Why are my notes missing? Oh, we're so prepared on this show.
I didn't take your notes, Matthew. I wasn't there.
You'll never be able to get in.
Well, while you're looking for that, one other complaint I want to have is, did you have a hero in this? Was there a good guy or a Jedi that sucked you in every week that, look, I got to watch this guy? There wasn't for me because they all kept passing away. There was nobody in there that was consistently there. I did have one, but
like you said, he didn't last too long.
Right. And I think that's a problem. I think that if you can't get any kind of like emotional attachment to one character to last, you know, that brings the show down.
Well, the password and they kind of bring some back, but
you already know what happens to them. So,
well, not even just that. They did like fully bring him back, so it's you didn't really get, like you said, there wasn't one consistent hero throughout it. It was all kind of anti-heroes.
Right.
And they weren't, or that you thought, okay, this one's going to be a good guy, and like all of a sudden they're not the good guy anymore.
Right. And that's the thing that with me for May and Osha. They kept flip-flopping as far as which side they were going to be on. So that was inconsistent because you couldn't, like, if you were going to pick a side with one of them, you really couldn't get behind them because they kept flip-flopping back and forth. So.
Yes. It's like watching politics.
Right. Or wrestling. They did a heel turn.
Yeah. Oh, wait a second. You're a good guy. Now. Spoiler, I'm the bad guy. That's it. Have you watched the Olaf where Olaf tells the tale of the different movies?
I may have. It's not ringing a bell though at this point.
I know you watched Frozen 2.
Oh yeah, yes.
So there's the one segment where he is talking about giving a recap of the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And he goes to the guard. Surprise! I'm the bad guy. Wait, no, what? So they actually ran a Olaf telling the tale of like Little Mermaid and a few of the other movies.
Oh, that's funny.
So there's a bunch of shorts out there. I would love to see Olaf do that for the Acolyte.
For the Acolyte.
I must have burned the notes for this one.
You must have, dude. It was like 2.
Oh, wait, here it is.
Oh,
yes, mid-season, success. You gave it a 5.
I gave it a 5. All right, we're lowering that.
Very short notes.
We're lowering it. I'll go down to a 4.
I gave it a 6. I'll give it a 5.5.
Mm.
Just slightly above average.
Because I was hoping the last 3 would bring it home, and it in my opinion, it failed. Even to a point where I'm like, I'm good if they don't have a second season.
Like what I find interesting. So I was going through some of the fan groups, Star Wars fan groups, and reading over people's reviews, and it is all over the place. Some people absolutely loved it. Some people said it was, great. It's fantastic. They loved it. And good for them. I'm not arguing with anybody.
No. Yep.
And then there's other people who ripped it apart even worse than you did.
Mm.
So there's like no real middle ground. Right. I mean, it's kind of Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, there was some. It was legitimately all over the place. That either
Yeah.
people really loved it, really hated it, or was kind of neutral on it. I mean, it wasn't like one way to another.
Right.
Um, I I you know think we hit on some of those, and we'll get into detail in a little bit. So the character that I liked, that I I was kind of hoping we'd see more, until few episodes in, they got rid of him. He kind of seemed to be the most redeemable of any of them. Was Yonder Yodor Yord
Yord.
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 Dear George Lucas and Kathleen Kennedy,
Yeah.
in your next Star Wars film, can you please go back to having names that we can pronounce?
I was like, who are you talking about? Then Yord. Yes.
Yord. Sorry, I didn't realize we were from the Scandinavian countries here.
I mean, I
The
guess.
Swedish chef is naming the characters now.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess I can see that because he had an awkward start, and then he started to build like a better reputation, a character, going further, and then
He was
meets
like
his
the only
end.
one that kind of listened to
Right.
OSHA,
Yes.
and was trying to actually put things together, and like you said, start listening to her and like, okay, well, maybe she's not, lying. I mean, maybe this is okay. This maybe is what's actually going on, and tries to protect her,
I
and then
mean,
he gets it too.
so for me, like that's hard because I did like once Chimera finally came out as Chimera, I did like his character. It was interesting.
Yeah,
Been there, done that though with the storyline. When we get into spoilers, it's been done a million times with him.
he was interesting too. But I wasn't surprised. Like, oh wait, you're the guy behind the mask.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, was it Scooby Doo?
Yeah. Yeah, the obvious guy. This is not a spoiler because we already talked about this in the other episode. The
Yeah.
obvious guy ended up being him, which was weird, but whatever. Can I go with Basil, whatever his name is, the gopher dude? Because
Oh, I liked him too. He was good.
because
And I like the Swiss Army knife droid.
Pip. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Basil because I still don't know why he did what he did in the last couple episodes, but it was cool. So yeah, that's who I'll go with.
That's all right. That's all right. So we're going. I go back to the new proper sheet here. So you're giving it a 4. I'm
4.
giving it a 5.5. This is me actively writing on the audio podcast. And you're going with not Pip. What was it?
Basil, whatever his name is, Basil, I think.
Basil. Yeah, that was you, not me. And I went Yord. All right, there we go. So yes, if you have not finished watching Star Wars: The Acolyte, pause it here. Finish watching, then come back to us where we will be getting into the more spoilers and really breaking down the show. If you have finished, then continue listening along. But you have been warned: spoilers are abound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we talked about the obvious guy. We talked about Jordan, getting that they got rid of everybody. And I think I talked about this in our previous mid-season review, that I liked how they set up the Jedi of being kind of this arrogant, pompous,
Right.
This is how we do things, and this is how we're always going to do things, and we know best, and we're not going to answer to you, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're all uniformed. They all have the same outfit on. There's no like variations or anything like that, which I thought was an interesting choice as well, because as we get later on, they have all different type of robes. You get the yellow lightsabers in this again, which is, I'm a fan of the yellow lightsaber, so it was nice to see that, actually on the screen once, and not in a video game. So it had makings of stuff, of good things, but like you said, there wasn't like any real character that you connect with. The only two that like really followed through the entire episode was Osha and her sister
May.
Thank you. I knew there was something. There we go. Simple names. Thank you.
Yeah.
But they were going back and forth so much at times that you start off hating May and like Osha, but then partway through you kind of switch that. And I don't know if this would be part of their mistake, I feel, is that, okay, you said that they're playing on 3 seasons.
Yeah, that was the thing. That this was supposed to be a tale of 3 seasons, and that's why I'm assuming that's why they took their sweet time with this one, doing what they did. But I think they could have utilized that a lot.
That's what I was going to say, and I think that to their mistake, not to their credit, is that they wrote it out as if you watched all 3 seasons at once, and that doesn't work so well, because season 2, be that there'll be a season 2, won't be out till when, and this is how you leave us. Not as many people are as excited to go back to that well as you were hoping.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do enough to build in the first season and make us want to come back.
Because you didn't leave the ending, the show overall, but plus the ending. It wasn't, when it was over, you weren't sitting there going, my opinion anyway, I can't wait until they come out with season 2, because I have to see how this goes. The cameos that were in there, 2 main cameos, they weren't even strong enough to pull me in, because they were just, to me, those cameos were just thrown in there for just fan service, and that was it. Hey, we put them in, we did our job, move along.
Yeah, pretty much. Someone made the comment, was it you or read online, about how, you have these Jedis running around. How come the High Council of the Jedis is not involved at all? And Yoda should be around at this time. And, oh, wait, he shows up for 5 seconds.
For 5 seconds? Yeah, and, okay, so now that you brought him up, Yoda could sense everything that was going on with Anakin when he was taking out younglings and all that stuff like that. All these Jedi were getting wiped out, and Yoda didn't sense this, didn't come in and say, hey, I sense a disturbance in the Force. Some guys are getting, you know what I mean? Like, all of a sudden, he turned his switch off, and he wasn't attuned to it? Like, you would think Master Yoda would know that this stuff was going down. And I get it. They're not going to put him in there. They don't want to. They spent $180 million. You can computer generate Yoda.
Sock puppet.
Or that.
The only reason why I'm thinking maybe not, and I believe they actually did touch on this, is that the forest that they were in blinded the Force.
So like Dagobah?
Yes. Because that's why the Wookiee Jedi went there to hide. So no one could find them in there.
So they pulled a Dagobah on us, and I missed it.
Yes. So that would be my only guess why you wouldn't be able to sense that a platoon of Jedi Knights was wiped out by one Sith Lord. Now, granted, he was a little more well armored than any of the other Sith Lords we've come to pass, and I liked how they built this one up because he just really didn't care.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, once he revealed himself, he was a cool character. He was worth watching when he was on screen. But by the time they did it, though, you were so frustrated on how the show was going that you were like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, then the other cameo was what, Sidious, right?
No,
not Sidious.
Plagueis.
Plagueis.
Darth Plagueis, yes. And he looked like me. Like, I blinked when it was on, and I don't know. He looked like Gollum from the Lord of the Rings coming out of the
kind of just kind of creeping around that corner. I'm like,
yeah. When I saw him, I'm like, who's that? Wait a minute, is that supposed to be Plagueis or Tenebrow? But then the internet did its thing and said it's Plagueis, and I'm like,
right. That's it. I had the same thought. I'm like, I'm guessing that's supposed to be Plagueis. I always thought Plagueis was just more human looking, but again, not reading the books, maybe I missed something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go on a little rant here. So it's bad enough.
The floor is yours.
Yeah. So we've talked about, and I don't know. Normally, this is your part.
Switching. I like this. We're switching.
So it's bad enough, like say with the Marvel movies, you can't jump in now because you've missed the 30 films beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Wars is now becoming like that. Like, okay, you can't just watch. You can watch the core movies, but if you're watching any of these spin-offs, in Mandalorian wasn't like this for the first 2 seasons. The third season, it's like, okay, if you haven't watched Rebels, then you don't know who these people are.
Mm-hmm.
And to watch Rebels, you have to watch Clone Wars.
Right.
And and now you also have to throw in Bad Batch in there too now.
Mm-hmm.
So
and not to cut you off, but Skeleton Crew has Boba Fett in it, so they're going to be connected in somehow. But
yeah. So okay, now you have to watch the Book of Boba Fett.
Right.
So you have all that to watch and now you tell me I have to read the books too, on top of having to watch everything on top of.
Yeah.
Star Wars, I love you. I don't have that much time for you.
Exactly. Yes.
I like that. I get you want to connect stuff, and so people who are fans of the books can now see stuff come to life on the screen and characters that they liked, and people of the animated series see it again. I get that, and I completely appreciate that. It's like, how do you walk that fine line?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
people thought Marvel was bad. I'll take, just sit down and have a binge watching of 20 plus movies, any day.
Yeah. And the rumor, like, this was the Acolyte was the telling of the tale from a Sith. Plagueis was supposed to be the main bad. It had a good setup, and you could have introduced, in my opinion, you could have had Plagueis in this more with Chimere being his apprentice or something like that. I think it could have been way cooler than him just being a pupil of what's her face went bad, which we've heard this a million times. So he went bad. Now he's on his own being a Sith, and now Tenebrow, and then you just throw Tenebrow in there as hiding in a rock for a 2-second cameo. So that's supposed to get me excited for season 2 when you actually finally bring him in. When you had 4 hours worth of time, you could have had him in.
Or even if you had it in the last episode because you had Osha turn and have him go, okay, you need to be trained. I'm not the one to train you. Let me introduce you to my master.
Exactly.
And here he comes, and then you could have done some stuff with that.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have to be a lot, but you could have just built that better, other than peering out from behind a rock.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly. My precious.
Smeagol. Smeagol not like dumb hobbits.
Oh.
Stupid hobbits. You So, like I said, there was so much potential.
Yeah. And a lot of people were picking on, and I kind of agree with them. There was that, I think it was episode 7. I think it was episode 7 where Saul, he had May and Osha were on the bridge. They were both separated, on opposite ends of the bridge, and he was trying to hold the bridge up instead of like force lifting them off the bridge and bringing them to safety. He just gave up on holding up the bridge and letting one fall to their death, quote unquote. Why didn't you just force pull them? They're much lighter. What?
Well, David, as they demonstrated a number of times in the episode, because he kept on flashbacking to the same points.
Right.
He wasn't the brightest. Yet he lasted the longest out of the group.
Yeah.
But he kind of was, I don't want to say the goofy Jedi, but the Jedi that just didn't seem to maybe attend all the classes.
He spent
again, he would. It's like, okay, you think, okay, he's the one that's going to redeem, like, be the character that is going to suck you in.
Mm-hmm.
But then once he realized that it was May that he had, and he kept on like crying to her and apologizing.
Right.
I mean, you just destroyed this character as well.
Yeah. Right. And then, like, I had the one Jedi took himself out with the poison. His name is skipping me right now. And then he allowed Osha to choke him out. So you had two people that sacrificed themselves, which I had a problem with. Now you could say, oh, well, Obi-Wan Kenobi sacrificed himself. Well, he sacrificed himself to become more powerful and to help Luke and Leia get away.
Oh wait, he was the one that the witches were taking over.
Right. Yes.
That's what happened to him. That's right.
Yes.
That's right. That's how memorable he was.
Right. And that's why I can't remember his name. But, they both took themselves out for the guilt of what happened. And Trinity, I know that's not her name, but she severed the link of all the witches, and they all dropped because she severed the link. And that's how because we were wondering how they all passed away. Well, we found out, and I'm like, that's it? What?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of a little strange as well. That it was just like, I was expecting something a little more tragic.
Yeah, me too.
Other than they're the Borg?
Yeah, she did like a force push and disrupted the bio link, and they all dropped. I'm like, okay.
Like, I think that was my biggest thing. I'm like, I was holding out through episode 7 even.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get episode 8. It was so anticlimactical.
Yeah. Yep.
And just think there was no real climax to it. Yeah, no anticlimax. No. There was no climax to it. There was nothing to like really like grab you and shake you.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why even like the post-credit screen when Vernestra, that's her name, came up and opened the door and you saw Yoda's head. That couldn't even spark the yes moment. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, okay. Now you show up.
Okay. Yeah, it's I mean, the one thing, one of the redeeming qualities. One of the things I did like about this show. I don't want to say I hated everything about this show.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things
it's just easier to take apart all the bad stuff that happened, but there are a couple things that were actually pretty good in the show. But go ahead.
Like the lightsaber battles.
Yes.
There wasn't a lot of them, but they weren't just the posturing and just kind of the camera angle tricks that we got in a lot of in the past for Star Wars. These were like legit fighting, and that was the one thing about Episode 8 that I did like was not only was it a relatively good lightsaber battle, it wasn't even a style of lightsaber Jedi fighting that we've ever seen before. This was more like a Japanese style of or Asian style of film kung fu karate type of fighting with the stuff going on. So that was a nice change to see something like that.
I'd argue some of the best stuff since probably the prequel trilogy as far as lightsaber battles. So
don't get me started on that.
The sequel trilogy really didn't have anything that great that I remember. But
there was one. Force Awakens. In the forest.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Better than Episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Darth Maul was a really good lightsaber battle. He had that.
Yes.
Ray Park choreographed a really nice battle there. But we haven't. And that's always been one of my gripes about Star Wars is that you have the lightsabers. It's a lightsaber battle. But it's just so cut and dry, and it's just like or just posturing.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone talks about how wonderful the Episode 3 lightsaber battle is. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just posturing. You had the two of them standing there, just whipping their lightsabers around in front of each other.
They were standing on lava rocks, man. There's only so much stuff they could do.
No, but even when they were when they're in the control room, they were standing on the table on the desks and just doing the whole whipping the lightsabers around in front of each other. An occasional bash, run away. Bash, run away. Anakin, give up! I have the high ground.
All right. Well, I'll rephrase it. The Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace had the good stuff in there.
Yes. I'll agree to that.
Yeah. The other thing that they did, which Star Wars fans out there are torn with, but I thought it was cool because George Lucas didn't have it in. It wasn't in the George Lucas era, but it's in some of the comics, I think, or whatever, where how the Sith get their red lightsaber.
Yeah.
So I thought seeing that was pretty cool. Like, I guess the saber has to be broken or something like that, or whatever the deal is, and they have to bleed the crystal red through their hatred and anger, and then that's how they get their thing. Now, seeing that on screen was pretty cool. I like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'll side with the people. I'll side with the comics. Like, that was pretty cool.
Yes, that was cool. We did see, you and I have seen that before.
In what?
Survivor.
Oh, that's right.
Sorry, it just burst your bubble.
Wow.
It's in Jedi Survivor, but
it's been a long time since I played that too. But yeah, I got you.
This was actually cooler.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, it's so that was cool as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where she takes his lightsaber, she grabs it, and then you see the crystal bleed, and then the blade, comes out blue, and then you see the red starting. So that was cool. They had cinematic elements right.
Mm-hmm.
Really came down to the story just not being fully worked over.
Even the chase scene that was when they were going through the asteroid belt, the rings around the planet or whatever.
Yes.
That was beautiful. You know what I'm saying?
That was cool.
Yeah. I guess that's where a lot of the 180 million went into. But so visually the show, you can't complain about the special effects and how it looked visually. The way it was written, that's another story.
But again, the idea and the premise was good. The setup of okay, the Jedi are going to be this way, and then the Sith is going to be like this, and that was even good. The general ideas are good.
Right.
The execution of writing the characters for you to really, I guess they really only want you to focus in on Osha and May as your primary characters, and you were going to hook up to one of those. And you almost do with Osha, but then they pull the rug out from under you, and I guess again, I think they were thinking too long term. Oh, we're going to do it this way, and then here's the whole arc over the 3 seasons, and this is going to be the arc over 3 seasons, and this is going to happen in season 1, and then we're going to do something in season 2. But you're saving everything for 2 seasons that you're hoping you're getting.
Right.
Because I don't think they've confirmed either of those.
No, I haven't heard any confirmation. I mean,
the last time I looked,
would I be surprised if they pulled the plug? Nope.
I to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised either. It's weird because not that I want to be bringing up Doctor Who, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. There was a mixed review on, or there's mixed responses on the viewership for this past season of Doctor Who. Both you and I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the other people I've been in contact with or seen really liked it. But there was claims that the viewership was down, particularly in the UK. I don't know what Disney's numbers are. They don't have to release those.
Right.
They've already shot season 2 and the Christmas special. So most likely, and in TV, in this case streaming, you can pull those at any time.
Mm-hmm.
But they've already shot those. They already have those in the can. Most likely they're going to release them.
Right.
So those are coming.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done that with the Acolyte.
They haven't done that. No. Well, to that point, do you think if Lucasfilm says, all right, we do want a season 2, do you think they clean house and bring a whole new writing director, the whole 9 to do this? Or do you think they leave the current staff in place and let them continue?
That's rough. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. That doesn't always work out to be the best, or they shake it up a little more. Like, okay, they keep some of the main people in, but they bring in some more seasoned or stronger writers somehow. Because they did that with Solo.
Mm-hmm.
Solo started off with the Russo brothers, not the Russo brothers, the guys who did the Lego movie.
I know you're talking about. I can't think of the top of my head.
Lego movie. They also did the Spider-Verse. They were the ones doing Solo.
Then Ron Howard took over, right?
Yep, they pulled him out and put Ron Howard in.
Mm-hmm.
So, Solo came out okay.
Yeah, it was okayish. Yes, it wasn't horrible, and it wasn't great. It was just okay.
Yeah. So you could do something like that. Kathleen Kennedy had to see the dailies on this stuff, and
had to. But that's what I'm saying. Like if they start promo in a season 2, the people that didn't like it, they're not. They might watch it just to see how bad it is. But like, I don't know. It's going to be hard for anybody to get pumped up for it if you're bringing the same people back doing it. I don't know. I don't want to see anybody lose their job, but it's like
no, I really don't either. And here's I think where they will really get the hint. So it's not going to be necessary in the numbers of viewers in the reviews online,
right?
Because they're not paying attention to those anymore because of toxic fans taking over and just flooding it with everything. Negative so even if you have something that is fantastic, there's going to be so many negative reviews. It's like I forget the movie. I think we've talked about this before. There was a movie that came out that before the movie actually premiered had such a negative review on Rotten Tomatoes by people who've never seen the movie, but they flooded so bad that the freshness rating was through the toilet. It's like the movie's not even out yet. Not that many people could have seen it.
Yeah.
The merchandising. If they can't,
if they're not moving the product,
if they're not moving the products, because I saw something in a Disney store email that I got with you can get your Acolyte shirt and there's a picture of Osha in the Sith robes. And I'm like, kind of cool, but
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. It's nice enough.
Do you have a picture of the creepy guy looking out of the cave with his bony fingers? Do you have a screenshot of him on the shirt? I'll buy that one.
I got it. Nope, this is what we need. We need a shirt with the 3 Sith helmets. This guy's helmet?
Yeah.
Because I still can't even tell you his name. Vader's helmet, and we have Kylo Ren's helmet. But it's got to be Kylo Ren's helmet with the red splinters through it.
Right. Because it's Chimera, by the way. Chimere's helmet kind of looked like Kylo Ren's in a way. Not the same, but when it was all cracked up and pieced back together, they kind of had a similar.
You kind of get that vibe. Feeling.
Yeah.
Towards it. This bulky. Which is why I think in the original review, I said if we went back and said this was the beginning of the Knights of Ren, that would make sense.
It would make sense. Yeah. But it turns out
I don't think we're doing
that's that. Not. Yeah, no. I think they threw that out.
Yes.
It's just that side gave it away. There was so much we looked forward to this one. We were hoping that this one, because they're kind of in a tailspin, man. Like the last season of Mando wasn't that good for me. Ahsoka didn't hit the mark. What else is it? Bad Batch was good.
Ahsoka was enjoyable.
It was enjoyable, but it didn't hit for me as good as it. Because again, my main complaint, we're not doing an Ahsoka review, but my main complaint about the last, like the Mando season and the Ahsoka season was they waited. We had 6 episodes in an 8-episode season. We had 6 episodes of like fluff or whatever, and then you bring the bad guy in the last 2 episodes for a rushed finale. That's how I felt like that's the pattern we're going into. So,
they didn't do that with this one.
No, they did not. But we're kind of in a tailspin here where the product hasn't been that good. So we need a win. So Skeleton Crew, I think, is the next one up. And I'm kind of...
Skeleton Crew, you're on deck.
You're on deck. Good luck. Stay off Rotten Tomatoes.
Skeleton Crew, you're on the clock.
Which they don't even have a release date. I'm going to assume it's got to be the holiday season, something like that around there.
Because it is this year.
It's supposed to. It's saying 24 release, but they're not giving anything away on it.
No. Yeah, I can't bring up the Disney. Is it loading now? Oh wait, now maybe it's loading. The Disney website. Yeah, here we go. Acolyte. I don't think there's anything for Skeleton Crew yet on here, Star Wars. No.
No,
it's not even on their PR page. So, I mean, it's going to come around. It's just
when. Yeah, I got to assume it's got to be around the holidays. Because Andor got pushed off to 25, I believe, right? So.
Yes. Yes. So, yeah, Skeleton Crew, I know, is the next one. And I think you're right. I think it probably will be, holiday-ish, because I don't think they really have much else.
Yeah, going on right now.
Hitting at that point. So, yeah. So that's that.
Yeah.
You have anything else you want to add, Dave?
No. I'm just, it was disappointing because again, it's like a mixed bag. Like you watched it and you go, it could have been so much better, and it just wasn't. But I don't know, man. And do we want to see more of this? I don't know. If they put it out, I'll watch it.
Season 2, I will watch it.
So will I. But I think that
I'm not going into it with much excitement yet.
Any expectation whatsoever. No. They have to change course. If there is a second season, they have to change course on what they're doing.
There needs to be
a better flow,
to be more.
Better something.
Yeah. Something that's going to grab you a little better.
Mm-hmm.
So, on that note, anything else you might add, Dave?
No, that'll do.
That'll do, Pig. That will do.
That'll do.
All right. Well, thank you, and we'll be talking again soon.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. There's our review on The Acolyte. Let us know again what you thought of it. Join us again on social media, where we told you at the beginning of the show, it's pretty much everywhere at WD Magiccast. Well, thank you for your time. I know how little time we all have these days, and the fact that you spend some of that time together with us means a lot to me, to us over here at the WD Magiccast family. Please, if you could go on to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave us a rating and review. We have all 5-star reviews at the moment. Keep them coming. We could use more. The more reviews that we get on those podcatchers, the more they will do to promote our show as well. Don't forget to tell your friends, share out a link to your favorite episode on social networks, and feel free to tag us in so we can thank you in virtual. Won't believe in a big Disney family, so do I. Don't forget to subscribe to the show while you're at it. This way you always know when a new episode is posted. And while you're at it, consider becoming a premium subscriber. Truly help the show out. You can do this over at Spotify Podcast /WD Magiccast. The link is in the show notes, as well as the social networks. And also for our TeePublic store. Like I said, you get yourself some really cool WD Magiccast merchandise there. Whatever you're facing, whatever is going on in your life, no matter how troublesome it is, how worn out, and how tired you may be, don't give up. Never give up. You are special. You are amazing. You are worth it. You are worth being loved. You are worth being in people's lives. Do not deny that. Be your own hero. Never give up. Never give in. Let your light shine for the world to see, and don't be afraid to ask for help. People are willing to help you, whether you know them or not. It could be a complete stranger, or it could be someone that you thought was okay, but may turn out to be the best thing in your life. Now, I'd like to end this week's show with a quote from Walt Disney himself. I am interested in entertaining people, in bringing pleasure, particularly laughter, to others, rather than being concerned with the expressing myself with obscure creative impressions. Again, that's from Walt Disney. Thank you again for listening, everyone, and I'll see you next time.